Good evening. Shade Tree Commission for Thursday, September 12th, 2024. Thank you. We have established a quorum. We are all here. We have a quorum. We have all these people. I'm so excited. Thank you. Since we're all here at the same time, let's go down the lane and introduce ourselves. So.
Sure, yeah. My name's Gene Dubler. I am a local arborist and a commissioner here on the Tree Commission.
Michael Lincoln, commission member.
I'm Chris Fall. I'm the chair.
Tristan Kinnison. I am a local forester and certified arborist.
Joanna Sokol, a commission member.
Michael Wood, City Council.
Okay, first order of business is to approve of the minutes that was passed out with the agenda. Does anybody have any additions? Subtraction? I want to say thank you to Michael. Thank you. Oh my God, thank you. I used to have to talk and write it down at the same time.
That's impossible.
And then you'd go back and watch it, which is even worse. So thank you. You'll be getting a nice big giant Halloween candy.
Oh, yeah.
Great.
Hooray.
So does anybody have any other suggestions or anything on the minutes? Okay. Do I have a suggestion to approve?
I move to approve.
Thank you. I have a second.
Second.
Thank you. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Second order of business is, let's see, okay. We get to go way down. Let's go to the maintenance of the tree canopy, which is also the grants and stuff. But let's do that after we have Jen come up and talk to us about what you want to talk. Yeah, that's the easiest way. And then you can leave if you have to. Always like to be. Great.
Well, I guess I'll start out with saying thank you. I put a proposal together for the Tree Commission to consider to help match some dollars for tree planting along the Hocking River floodplain behind the Athens Community Center, and that was approved. So that $700 is going to match our grant that we have, $700 from the Ohio EPA. This is a watershed support grant that we have. My background is in water. And so why do trees matter for water? You all know this, but we are looking for ways to help water infiltrate and filter pollutants that are carried by water overland flow before it gets to our waterways. And so populating, vegetating, planting trees in our riparian corridor next to all our waterways is one of our main focus. So we've been doing that all over Southeast Ohio. But this particular area will be our third year of planting behind the community center. This is less money, even with the matching dollars, is less money than we've had the first 2 years. And so I'm looking for partners, and there are potentially other folks that would contribute. And so the total number of trees is yet to be determined, but I'm hoping between 20 and 30 trees that would extend, if you know the area, behind the community center, along the Hocking River, going downstream towards the soccer fields. So a little bit further downstream from where we planted last year. I'm hoping, so I've put a request into Greenleaf to give me a quote for how many trees we could get, following floodplain species, swamp white oak, pin oak, river birch, sycamore, maybe some bald cypress. We have done some pawpaws there before on the edge. This is out in the open, so we probably won't do pawpaw there. And we would try to get match our numbers so they would be smaller. So in the past years, we've done 5-gallon to 12-gallon size bald trees, which is quite large. Many people, many hands to get those planted. So this year, I asked him to see if he could order, source us trees in like sort of the 5-gallon size, and then we would put tree tubes, since we haven't had to do that in the past because these trees were taller than me, and we'll stake them because it is pretty powerful spring flow through there. And so we did lose one tree last year, a bald cypress, and I've talked to Todd at Greenleaf about getting that one replaced. So they hold our maintenance agreements for 1 year for all the trees we plant down there. So I just we have to cover labor, but they would replace the tree. Yeah.
a quick question. Looking at 2 years back, the original, have you been keeping mortality and
All of them have
studies?
survived from the first year.
Okay. Have you been measuring them?
No,
The project.
they're still pretty young. We can start
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, but hey, baseline.
Yeah.
So,
We will be going back out, so the original stakes that help give them stability will be taken off that first year. So from 1 to 2 years, those stakes can stay on, helps them get stable. But then, I think, Jean, you were telling me this, it's good to take them off, and Todd was saying this too, because you want those roots to establish on their own and be strong on their own without that stake. So we'll be taking those off from the first year planting when we go down to this year to do this planting.
cool. Questions?
You said you're doing this planting in October?
November 2nd.
Okay.
It's a Saturday.
Right.
Will you need
It'll-
any help, like support?
Yes.
Labor-wise? Okay.
Yeah, all of this is done with volunteers, so I'll put out a flyer. I actually was just proofing it, so we'll get that out, and I have folks RSVP, just so I have kind of a roundabout number of volunteers. We have a lot of OU students show up. This is Dad's Weekend, so we have a lot of dads that show up with their students. And residents, anybody can come and help. And we usually have 30 to 40 people. So sometimes we have more people than trees. But with those large trees, that was nice because we could put 5 people. We don't just plant the trees. We plant them, we stake them, we put deer guard, and we mulch them. So there's quite a bit of work to do. But we've been able to do all of these plantings in about 2 hours with that many hands each of those years. So yes, we will need help. And if we get additional dollars, this area could be expanded down further towards the soccer fields this year, but probably we'll split that area into 2 years, so this year again and then next year.
Okay. Well, and this will be the Arbor Day celebration,
Yep,
so the mayor will be there.
with the
Such.
proclamation.
With the proclamation and such. So there is also a question about the 20 trees that we've been talking about from Maynard's. Do you know anything about those yet?
As soon as you get those ready for me, I'll
Okay.
send them to the
Right.
Menards for a request. It's
Right.
getting a little late, I think, so
Okay.
I want to do that.
I'm wondering if, it seems to me that we would have enough space to have 20 trees if we ordered them, sort of thing. I'm not sure how good they are with the specific pinout and specific, but we could probably tell them because it seems that we could do 20, there's 20 places to put trees in the city in the fall. So we might as well start using our tree bank, since we have hundreds of trees in it.
Yep.
So the more the merrier. So that's what I would suggest. I think that there are a few places, maybe we can do 15 down, or however many nice trees. We may be planting some on the edge that might be like pawpaws or something. And then some of the ones that some of the other people have suggested in the city or the neighborhood. So I would say go for it with 20 trees.
Yeah, do you have a specific species that you'd like?
I don't know, I don't know how that one works.
Yeah, so what we'll do is you tell us what species you'd like to
Okay.
have, and they'll see what's available.
Okay.
Typically, they've got most of the standard oaks
Okay.
species, and of course we want natives.
Right.
So we'll.
So why don't you send your list to him? And then the ones that, if we can't get a whole lot of those, I'd still say let's get 20 because we'll be able to plant, everybody knows where someplace needs a tree, right? And then there's Glenn's list of places that he put out to Andy and Andrew. So I think we'll be able to find 20 places. So we'll get you trees, nice trees. So.
There are native pawpaws that are there on the edge, so it would be nice, it's compatible there, where there is edge of the
Yeah.
trees that are still in that area.
Right.
And that
What-
would be a
yeah.
fun tree to have there.
We've gotten a good cross-section of trees from them before.
Pawpaws are a little, you guys know better than me, but
Yeah.
they're pretty difficult to plant and
Yeah.
keep established. Have very specific needs, and if you get them, you probably want to get them smaller
Right.
rather than the bigger ones. The bigger ones don't seem to do very well when you're trying to transplant them.
So
We did-
let's see what we can get from her list, and then we'll fill in from whatever is available, and we'll find homes for them. How's that? Does everybody, questions? Okay, we need to approve of this? Let's approve of it.
Motion to approve?
Yes, motion to approve.
Second.
Thank you. All in favor of the fall planting scheme, say aye. Aye. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yay, more plants, more trees. I love trees.
I would
Okay.
like to kind of follow up on that.
Okay.
Does anybody happen to know offhand what is in the tree bank as of the moment?
It's whatever Menards has on their tree plantation.
Well, we have like a number that are paid into.
Lots.
Lots, okay.
Yes. The background of the Maynard's tree bank, and it's actually, it is even more than a tree bank, so like if we do have people who can't do the trees on their property,
Yep.
they can pay into it. We just haven't had any of those. But the tree bank was established when Maynard's got their tree calculation done by their tree commission here. And we never had a development quite like that before.
Yep.
And the algorithm was a little jaunty. So they didn't argue with the thousands of trees that they were supposed to put on the site.
1,000.
Yeah, so there's quite a number of trees.
Yeah, I think
So-
this had come up earlier in the year, right, with Southern Ohio Beverage or something?
Yes.
They had come in and asked us
Right.
about it. So I did know that there was another person
Right,
possibly
right.
paying into that tree. bank,
Yeah,
so.
yeah, but, so we use them for this sort of thing. Maynard's has been a good partner, they could have fought, I guess. But why? They get their trees used, they have just huge plantations, I'm sure, up in Wisconsin and Minnesota. The Golden State. Are we ready now? Thank you. Awesome, I'm so excited. Okay, let's talk about code changes. Did everybody get that in the email late
Yes.
this evening?
Yeah, I didn't,
Okay.
I mean, I got it, but I.
Yeah,
can't
it's not really very exciting, but, okay. We have talked about doing some of the code changes. One of the ones is to make the pollinator-friendly program, friendly front yard program. We need an acronym. Easier to run, and so some of the wording will be changing basically in 370204, which is the code number of the code. It's the title and all the different stuff that goes down it. So it would be, recognizes the changes that I would suggest. So basically what it's saying is that the city will get a nonprofit organization to be the certifier. People go through that certification process and get whatever they get from that certifier, a certificate or a sign or, whatever. And they register that with the city, and that will put them on the registration of pollinator-friendly front yards. So, does that make sense? Okay. All the language that I have in here is just preliminary, and I'll put it before like Debbie and Lisa for final wording. But one of the other changes, yeah.
As part of that, I wondered if we could, you also have to look at Title IX,
Right.
which talks about grass cutting and noxious weeds. So
Right.
in there, we say that these properties are
exemption?
exempt from
Yeah.
pollinator yard designations. Our office was wondering whether or not you would be interested in having another exemption for large lots, or large or unimproved lots, because we have to enforce that for these big lots, and what we're doing is we're mowing down these acres and acres of pollinators
Yes.
that are native there. So
Yes.
we were suggesting maybe making a change in Title IX as well,
Right.
to say, so that noxious weeds and grass would be for
residential.
Exempt for not unimproved lots greater than an acre.
Okay, that's excellent, because that's another of the suggestions, because a lot of people are going towards leaving vegetation on lots that aren't improved, because sometimes the lots take years to sell, and they're out there mowing it. I mean, nobody should be mowing. Nobody should be mowing this time of year with a drought. I mean, so I think that's an excellent, and I think that that is something that we can also put forward when we start creating our pathways, our pollinator pathways.
All right, thank you.
So, great.
I mean, I think I would like to dig into that just a little bit. I don't really want to have a blanket exemption for you no longer have to control invasive noxious weeds
Oh,
on
yeah,
those
no.
large acres. So I
yeah,
don't
this
know
would-
that.
Yeah, that's a state law, noxious weeds,
Right.
but this will be for lawn grass.
Right.
Yes.
Where people are wanting us to mow these
Yeah.
empty lots that are just acres and acres.
Yeah.
Because they don't like the looks of it.
Yep.
And there's some advantages to leaving those unmowed, or maybe just, if you are gonna have to mow 'em, maybe just mow them once or twice a year.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So
So
Right.
I'm not totally opposed to that, but there are a lot of really bad noxious weeds
Yeah.
that
We can't-
should be
Right.
that may be
So-
able to be targeted a little better.
So
Right.
the city doesn't have the ability to overrule the state's regulations.
Yep.
Right.
And so the noxious weeds portion of this is a state regulation.
Right.
And
So
and that's
here it's
through
right
the
there.
Department of Agriculture, and they have a list of 27 noxious weeds for Ohio. And that's what we follow.
Yeah.
So we couldn't exempt the noxious weeds.
Right.
Okay.
So, and so there's not much change except for the acreage in the noxious weed grass to be cut.
Yeah.
Has Bradford pear been put on that list?
They are not on that list as a noxious weed. They're an invasive tree, but they're not a noxious weed.
Okay.
And they're very bad. But
Yeah, that was the big ones that come to mind. Are I've seen a lot of the knotweed creep
Yeah.
in.
Yeah.
I'm very familiar. I live right by the old West Side Elementary.
Yeah, Canadian thistle's bad. There's some.
Canadian thistle's pretty
yeah.
bad, so I didn't know if there was a way that we could kind of target that a little better to kind of exempt
Yeah.
turf grass,
Yeah.
sort of
Yes,
those medium.
yes.
Right.
That's my suggestion.
And
I just
that's
gave my
9
staff the list
Right.
of noxious weeds, so we're aware of what they are.
Yes.
Perfect.
Okay, that's great. Thank you. I will put that in. The other thing with the pollinator front yard program, I'd like to open it up to anybody, renters, businesses, everybody, because nobody should be mowing their lawn. Maybe once a year. Or twice. I don't, depend, But I think that we need to get that across, that in planning and in zoning or in these sort of situations, you have a right of use, or, like you get to have a automatic right, and then there are other rights that you get with responsibilities. And right now, we treat people who want to do the right thing with pollinators of not mowing the yards, not creating pollution, reducing greenhouse gases, increasing biodiversity, everything we want to do as a city, and they have to get a permit for it. People should get a permit to mow their grass. I am serious. After June 15, when's the time, you said that there were 37 people complaining about lawn grass. I mean, what I would like to see from the code is when those are called in, where they're called in, because I think after July 15th especially, or if there's a super drought, like, the little thumbprint of drought we're under, no more mowing. You don't have to mow, no matter what your grass does. Because at this point, things are so stressed, you're going to be stressing out trees, and it's an emergency. I will stop my rant. Thank you.
So I had a
Yeah.
question about this specific part. I fully support what you're saying, and I agree. I think, so what you're saying, the situation would be if a renter wants to have a pollinator-friendly lawn, they would apply for this permit, and they would be in the system.
They would apply, what we're going to be using in this situation is pollinator pathways.
Sure.
And they get they go and they fill out the form, and then they are sent a sign. And
So
then,
my question is, what protections do they have from an owner of the property who wants to continue mowing or doesn't care about the pollinator pathways program and continues to mow the lawn that they're trying to cultivate?
right. It doesn't have to only be lawns.
Okay.
You can have, a lot of places that people, like on the Near East, we have postage size little things. And a lot of the people who are renting have lawns. What I'm seeing with a lot of the rentals are raised gardens. People are letting people make raised gardens in the front.
Okay.
Used to be illegal, not anymore. So it could be a raised garden, it could be a pot, the idea is to get out there. Most people are not going to take advantage of that, and the people who do go through that process are going to either work with their landlord or do it in raised gardens and stuff.
Okay.
There's
Yeah.
so many raised gardens now.
I think specifically with the lawn grass situation, there's such a
Right.
culture of mowing and mowing all the time. And specifically
Right.
with landlords who are hiring landscaping services to
Exactly.
do that regularly,
But
that culture
if
isn't
it
going
gets
to change
one or
right away.
two
So I think that's
landlords
important.
to stop doing that and working maybe
Yeah.
with one of the, when we first did a lot of the tree planting with, I wanted to work with the landlords because they don't get picked out a lot, homeowners and stuff. And they're the ones who have improvements for rentals is good for renters. And some of the landlords were so into the tree planting process that we
Sure.
were doing.
Yeah.
And we got, 40 trees at different land. So there are landlords out there who
Yeah.
are into this.
Yeah, and I
there'll
think
be
it's
more.
an easy pitch too to say that you're going to be spending less on lawn care
Yeah.
over the span of the year if you
And then
allow your
maybe
renter
we
to do
can
this
start
program.
doing awards
Yeah, totally.
and make it a right of like being the most Athenian person. Yeah, there's nothing like a little old-fashioned competition. So, okay, I agree with what you're saying. I'm not sure that if it's going to be as much as a problem.
Sure.
But I will put that in as a question when I do the language to Lisa.
Cool.
Lisa is our law director for the city. She officially works for the city council.
Yeah, I mean, I would imagine just in theory that the owner of the lot
Oh,
would have to be the
yeah.
person to at least co-apply
Yeah.
for this, so.
Yeah.
So you would imagine that hopefully any of them that get through, at least the landlord is
Yeah.
aware
Yeah.
and is signed on to co-sponsor.
Right.
Sure.
And I think a lot of people, I think that attitudes and stuff is encouraged to be changed. But, also this will open it up to things like fraternities that are off, that are private fraternities. I'd like to see competition there. Seems like they like that. So, seriously, before COVID, we were doing for the, beautification, Athens Beautification Month. We were planning, I had a student who was planning to do monumental trees for the Greeks. And we were having all these students, all the Greeks and stuff, having trees put in their front yards. So, and then COVID happened. And then we got 3 of them done, though. But I thought it was a cool name. So, anyway. So that will be changed. I think that making it open to businesses and stuff is really good, important too. So I will put that forward. The third area that we've kind of been speaking about, but something that has occurred to me because a lot of people have brought it to my attention, is that places that are exempt, like new development that's exempt under Title 41, should probably still be required to do a landscape plan. Right now, they're exempt, so they don't have to do a landscape plan. And right now, there's certain exemptions from Title 41, which is a site plan review, which means you have to go and have your site plan reviewed for any development, commercial or multifamily. And then there's exemptions that you don't have to do it. One of them is having a building less than 5,000 square feet. However, Sonic takes up that whole lot. Cement, stones, cement, building, cement. So it's not just the 5,000 square foot building that's impacting our runoff heat islands, and all the other things that we're trying to establish here with green infrastructure. So I would suggest that everybody has to do a landscape review. Because okay, Steak and Shake, you know. It happens that when they don't get reviewed, they put out one of those stupid little trees out in front that are weepy. And it's just so ironic, the little weepy trees out in front, when they could actually have a real tree. But I think that it makes sense, just like we've been talking about manufacturing, that's on a case-by-case basis. It should be on a case-by-case basis with 5,000 square feet. My rant. But I think it's only fair. They're having public goods come to their, you know, they have public services, and I think is where we care about garbage service, we care about water service, but this is all the green infrastructure service that should also be essential for a development that's going forward. Questions?
So are you recommending that it should take into consideration the full parcel size and not just the size of whatever structure is being built?
I would just suggest that any development,
Okay.
you know,
Commercial, multifamily.
commercial development. Multifamily, we need houses, so I would allow that. That's the thing. But because most of them, you know, if you're only talking about 5,000 square foot building, yeah, because of all the parking and everything.
Yeah.
And one thing we've made it easier for people to do is put trees instead of parking. It's in our parking ordinance. You can put in so many trees in place of parking spots. So there's no excuse. And it's cheaper. And they wouldn't be able to do that if they don't go through the process. So I would just change that one exemption. David?
So that's Title 37, landscaping regulations, and where
yeah.
where that's.
Oh, well, I have it under
Yeah.
Title 41.
Yeah,
So just exemptions to the Title 41.
Yeah. So 3701, landscaping regulations, 370101, subparagraph, let me find it here. Sorry. B, any variations from the standards established by this title on any plat or plan which must be submitted to the Planning Commission will be reviewed by the Shade Tree Commission, which will make recommendations to the Planning Commission. And that's
Right.
that's the only time this board gets to see the landscaping plans is when they go through Planning Commission. And so that's the section that you want to look at
Right.
in Title 37, which gives you the authority to review these plans.
Yeah. Or if it would be easier to put it through the Title 41, sounds like what, some paper chase law, Athens law, of doing it under Title 41, where those, just if it has Title 41 site review, that part of that site review is a landscape review.
Yeah, that is how it happens now, but
Yeah.
there are exemptions from the
For that
Title
5,000.
41.
Yeah.
5,000 square feet, although
Right.
it does require, you'll be seeing like a triplex and larger, those actually have to go through Planning Commission regardless of size.
Right. So that was the place where I saw that's where it's falling through.
Okay.
So that's where I'd like, because then we don't have to deal with the Planning Commission and changing things there.
Yeah, that would actually impact the Planning Commission. They'd have to see more stuff, so you want to make sure you coordinate that
Okay.
with Planning
Great,
Commission.
great. Now, when we do the manufacturing, how do you want to do that? We want to change it, so the manufacturing right now, and a lot of manufacturing zones are very built out. And so for them to maybe put in new trees with an upgrade or an expansion is sometimes difficult because there's a lot of going on under and above and throughout the ground. So that's going to be on a case-by-case basis, but I need language for that.
Yeah, there's two ways you could do it. You could make a policy that you would exempt the M zones from landscaping and just do it at a policy level here, or you could change the codified ordinance and you do that probably in, I'd say Title 37, the landscaping plans would be the best place to have that
Right.
exemption for M zones if you're going to do
Okay.
that.
Or we can do a case-by-case, sort of.
Either
Yeah.
way, yeah.
Yeah, Because, most people, like the person here from Southern Beverage, they wanted to do the right thing. And that's a process, then, put a couple trees in the bank or something.
Yep.
Or put a tree over here. So, does that sound good? Awesome. Okay. I will work on the language with you and Lisa, and then by the next meeting, we should be able to vote on it. Does that sound good?
And it might be worth having that coordinating meeting with the planning commission.
Thanks.
as
Yeah.
well.
Who's the chair of planning commission now?
That's John Katowski.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and their next meeting is the 18th, so if you want to add that to their agenda, you could probably get in there. This is coming
I can go
Wednesday.
and talk to them. Yeah, fun. They'd love to see me walk through the door. I'm their worst nightmare. I used to be. They love me though. Okay. Arbor Day we've done. Other planting we've done. The firehouse. The firehouse and the drought. Would you like to talk about the drought and then we can finish with the firehouse? How's that?
Sure,
Okay.
yeah. So I don't know if everyone is aware, but the USDA recently declared 22 counties in Ohio emergency natural disaster areas because of the drought. We're obviously kind of in the epicenter of it, and we've been experiencing the worst of it. And a lot of our trees in the urban canopy, as well as in the forested areas around here, are really suffering from heat stress, loss of water. They're losing root mass and all sorts of other issues. So I'm just kind of keeping this on our radar right now. There are going to be a lot of ripple effects in the next few years because of this drought. The USDA is providing grant and loan money to farmers right now for help with drought issues, and it might be in the future where there's money available for cities to support their tree canopies as well because of this drought. So I just wanted to put that out there, maybe keep your eyes out for any kind of grant money or funding coming through. I'll be doing the same. So.
Something I think that we need to think about with like climate resiliency and stuff, climate crisis, emergency, is establishing a emergency tree maintenance program.
Absolutely.
So that like right now, people should be out watering the trees, the city trees, any trees, and getting the information out. It's been hard to get information out, but it's like we do emergency broadcasting for other things, don't take long showers and all those sort of things when you go into a drought. This is the same exact thing, and it's even more important because you don't want your trees stressed, because then they're not happy.
Yeah, a lot of other
So.
issues can stem from there.
Right. So I don't know, I think that that's something that we're gonna have to put, and get some input from Parks and Rec and stuff and see how something like that, the emergency thing would be put forward. I think now it's just that people need to go out and water stuff. So,
And I think sooner rather than later. Like Jean last meeting mentioned trying to get this on the community center board.
Right.
Yeah.
And
in the past.
I did ask for it and such. I don't know what came of it, but, I think that maybe putting it out again,
Yeah.
I can contact Scott again. But also it's internally, instead of mowing, they maybe should be going out and watering and stuff. I don't know we have big tanks. I know that they go and do watering. So between,
Yeah, I think that's the Public Works Department. They have a water tank and they water the flowers uptown. But they
Right.
could use that for
They could
other
use-
things as well.
yeah. So.
Good. Okay. So
And
there's a
then,
way to coordinate
getting
water.
people who have street trees that people planted recently or the city's planted. If you live in front of one, please take it under your wing and act as an angel to it. And water it. Talk to it.
Mike wants to-
Just out of,
Yeah.
if anybody knows among us, how long should you water a tree for in this condition?
Yeah, good question. It depends on the size. So younger trees are more susceptible to heat stress in general than larger mature trees. So if you have a younger tree, you're going to want to water it. Depending on the circumstances, you want to do about 5 gallons per inch of caliper of the tree. So if it's a 2-inch caliper tree, you want to do about 10 gallons of water a week at the minimum. You can do more than that, especially for a younger tree in a drought, because they're really struggling. Older, mature trees will benefit from it, but they have much broader access to reserves, underground reserves, and just energy stores in the trunk of the tree. So it's not as much of a concern with bigger trees, but you could still water them. When it comes to larger trees, I kind of do a time situation instead of gallons per caliper inch, because you can get to pretty high amounts of water. So usually I'll tell people, 15 to 20 minutes of continuous watering, just with like a lawn waterer or whatever, just over the root zone. So that's my general recommendation.
Good.
Would it be possible to get the Public Works water tank truck available for the November 2nd plantings? I was worried about that. In years past, in the floodplain, it's going dormant season, we don't have to worry about it too much, but I was thinking, there's no hydrant down there, and I mean, I have a trailer and 5-gallon buckets, but if there is access to,
We could certainly ask either the street department or the parks department to be able to use that for that event. Well, we can ask them.
Kind of going along with that, I am really interested in using the watering container that the streets department has for street tree watering. Should we reach out to them to see if that's possible, or?
Probably want to start with Service Safety Director Andy Stone to see, because that's a manpower allocation issue,
Sure.
right? So we understand it's important, but we got to have enough manpower to do it. So I would probably start with him.
Okay. Cool.
And I could make that request for this board if you like.
I'd appreciate that.
Right. Well, if it gets put in, that's something that maybe Andy and Andrew, Michael, and stuff to kind of make a plan, an emergency plan for trees, for baby trees especially, because who wants to spend money and have your trees go cooked out?
Right.
It's very sad.
And we know this won't be the last time that we're
No.
facing something like this, so I think it'd be helpful to have a
Get
policy
the
in
pumper
place.
truck out there.
Fire truck, get the fire truck out. Yeah.
It might
be
get
great.
dirty though. Well, that's a good segue, right to the firehouse. All right. Beautiful firehouse. It has so much area around it that can be landscaped with our lovely opportunities. The city knows that they have to follow the landscape plan ordinances. I would love for them to do lots of educational, throw in some educational. We did stuff out at the retention basins where we made those nice signs. But it would be great if people could have a nice landscaped area that they could do. Wistendal is amazing, beautiful. Not everybody can do a Wistendal. But they can go and walk around and look at the fire station and talk to people and then say, oh, look at that. I didn't know that was both a pollinator plant and a deer resistant plant. Because people are crying for that right now, and especially deer, as we all know, because now they want to hunt them. So those deer are now going to be coming further into the city. So we need to have better deer resistant planting. So I would suggest that would be awesome. So how do we want to do that? Put some suggestions in. They're not doing a lot of landscaping until next year, probably, huh?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we have some time. I just want to put it on people's radar.
Is there money for landscaping for the firehouse? I would think there would be.
I would expect
Don't
it.
know.
Yeah. Oh, I think so. And then there's the 1% for art. Can we do that? So, 1% for art, yeah, probably not, no. All publicly funded, public institution things like firehouses and stuff. 1% of the cost goes towards public art. So, but I don't think that I think I've asked that before about plantings and they don't consider it.
Not art.
It's not art. Oh,
It
well.
may be worth thinking about. So last session, we had talked about potentially establishing a arboretum, kind of to shoehorn this in.
Yeah.
I did look into it a little bit. Basically, nothing that we have would qualify. They need to be very specifically planted, kind of a horticultural situation. You can't just pick natural regeneration, anything like that. One of the big things that would kind of stop us is that we need to have a provenance for all of them that are planted in, at least to some degree. From Menards might do. But it does need to be a lot more of a curated setting like that. We couldn't just put IDs on, trees in the city park and call that the arboretum. They need to be intentionally planted in and intentionally cultivated in that sense. This probably is a little small to fit 25 different species of trees.
Right.
Probably would not cover that art
Right. Oh, yeah.
piece of it.
No.
But,
I mean, it's an interesting quandrum. Maybe, I'm sure there are places that have used plantings and stuff as public art, and so maybe finding pieces like that for the future, when we're doing other large things, it could be something that's introduced to the language of landscape. So, questions? Okay. So, Arbor Day looks like it's going really well. That will be awesome. We now need to do the Arbor Day application. Usually Andrew Chicky takes the lead on that. I haven't gotten back, hasn't gotten back to me, so I'll follow him. The other person had my homework, was looking at GIS layers. I'm going to get with Megan and look at those and see what's possible, and then I'll let you know. So, any other questions?
I'm happy with it.
Okay.
In the loop.
Yeah. that would be great.
Very
Yeah.
good, very good. Yes.
Yeah, it would be great, because she needs to know what we need, so maybe when I meet with her, so, okay, thank you. Okay, other questions? Anything that you have? Okay, great. Well, then I would suggest that we have a motion to adjourn.
Second. Ocean.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
You guys are too fast.